The law of the mind. Today we are going to look at it from a religious perspective. I assume you all are Christians, so I bring to you a new perspective on this topic. Remember the story of the guys at Babylon, the people who wanted to build a tower that would reach the heaven. For so long, we've approached it from the perspective of language origination. As they began to speak different languages, that was how different dialects were formed. That's all we've seen it as. But there was a striking scripture, a striking part that caught my attention. It said, now nothing will be restrained from them which they have imagined to do. You see that your imagination is powerful. And he went a step further and said, and he came down to see a building which they have finished. The mind is very powerful. Majority of us blame our bodies. Majority of us believe that we are the one taking the action. Majority of us believe that we are the reason for our current predicament, which is not absolutely and totally wrong. Take with me from an example. Say I'm driving a car and I hit a tree, for instance. The police does not arrest the car, they arrest me, the driver, perhaps due to my level of incompetence. Regardless of the car you give me, if it can be a Lamborghini, a Ferrari, a Ford Mustang, I would still reproduce that same result. The problem is not the car, the problem is the driver. That driver is your mindset. Your mindsets are unconscious belief system you have that dictates your life, and your life and your actions dictates the ultimate quality of your life. So when you want to change things, what do you really change? So why have you been focusing on changing car? Why have you been focusing on changing your clothes? Why have you been focusing on changing jobs? The law is it would reproduce the same outcome regardless of what you change. Majority of you who has gone from job to job, from place to place, always complaining that it's your boss, always complaining that it's someone else's fault. But you forget this law of the mind, that the law is it will always reproduce the result of the perpetrator. Another analogy would be, majority of you are in the aerospace and in the aerodynamic space and you understand aviation. The law of aviation says that when a plane is on a course and say its trajectory is to go straight, if for some reason the plane deviates, the law of aviation would correct it and shift it and bring it to a point that it aligns with its trajectory. The same is with your mindset. We don't need a crystal ball to figure out that give a bus driver 10 million naira and few days you would meet him back in that same position. We inherently know this. We know this deep down in our bones. But why is that so? I bring you a new perspective. So buckle up. You give a you give a you give a you give a bus driver 10 million naira and he goes home rejoicing and celebrating. Notice what he does first. He enrolls his children into the best school in the community. He goes out drinking with his friend, and while they're hailing him, calling him Alexander the Great, Conqueror, etc. At best, he opens up a kiosk, a small business for his wife. So at best, 10 million naira investment went to a kiosk. It's only a matter of time before he depletes that resources to match the level of his transformation. Soon enough, his children are coming for their tuition fees. His friends no longer hail him because he can't pay for their drinks anymore. His wife is dragging his head because he ate every single thing in the kiosk and is the massive loads of debt. The man is sincere, he just wanted education for his children, but not out of the desire for them to learn, but to brag to his friends. And his belief system is flawed because he doesn't understand the law of increase and understand the fact that that result is perpetual. You don't pay a tuition fee once, it is a consistent result. It is something you do over time that has to be planned. You see him years later or months later in that same position. Say, I thought you were the one driving, I thought you were the one celebrating 10 million naira. What happened? He says, I'm cursed. Or he blames it on something external, he blames it on someone else, as you all do, extrapolated into your own life. When you're blaming your boss, blaming someone else at the back end, you're always pointing fingers. You never point fingers inwards to see why this result is always surrounding you. Have you ever used this word on yourself? Why me? Why is it always me? Of course, it's always you. You are the driver, you are the person taking the action that reproduces that same result. When you take an action, this is a phenomenon that both science and religion has come to unanimous agreement that we become what we think about. And anytime you take an action, expects an equivalent result. Every decision in life has consequences, and the consequences have already been pre-programmed. So if I walk to the summit of this building and I jump, chances are excellent that except God shows mercy, I would fall. So that consequence falling is the decision, is the that action falling is the consequence that comes to that decision. I've not taken the action, but my lot is already defined, extrapolated into the life of you who's sitting there watching me. When you take those decisions, when you choose to spend time drinking, hanging out, having fun, and enjoying your youth, as they'll call it, I want you to understand that there's a local equivalent pre programmed consequence of your action. And when that bill comes in the future, do not resent it, because most of you have gone through this phase which has brought you here, sitting down in a seminar looking for how to improve the quality of your life, which is a very good investment. At least you're not drowning in despondency and blaming and regretting. At least you've realized that there is a better path and you're here to change, and I commend you on. However, many people still self-sabotage. Many people still self-sabotage their results unconsciously. Your mindset dictates the overall, your mindset dictates the overall quality of your life. Ever seen every one of you here has given out clothes. Every one of you has a white t-shirt that once upon a time in your life you outgrew. So you decided to give it out. You've been using that white shirt for 2 years perhaps, and it's still looking neat, because the law is it reflects the health of your mental transformation. Your body did not decide to wash that shirt or give it to the laundry guy. It's your mind that instructed your body to take that action. Like I said, you people did not just appear here. You actually thought about it, discussed it with your spouse, thought about how beneficial it's going to be for you to attend this conference before your mind then instructed your body to take the action which is bringing you to this event. So back to our story. You've you've given out a shirt, and when you see that shirt, perhaps after 2 weeks, you are angry at what you're seeing because it's not looking white, it's not looking brown. The law is it would always reflect the mindset of the person using it. And when the shirt transferred ownership, it began to reflect the health of the person using it. Everything is all frequencies. Conversely, if your mindset has been transformed and enlightened, the laws of that justice system would insist that regardless of anything, it would force anything you do to transit you to another level. That's why you see that's for the same reason you see most people. It looks like they have this magic touch. Anything they touch turns to gold. It's not necessarily a touch as you see it. That is the physical equivalent that you're seeing. But the other aspect, the unseen aspect, is the mental prowess. I made my first million. I made my first millions by posting shorts on YouTube. I made my first millions running tons of faceless channels. You try to post a video and see whether you get views. The problem doesn't just lie in consistency alone. The problem is not necessarily a good thumbnail or other esoteric concepts that comes into play. The first protocol, the first thing you need to deal with according to priority is your mindset. A couple of while ago we were looking to buy a private jet, and okay, I won't go into that story. Go into that story. That's for the conference. I'll share the story. Couple of while ago, we were looking to buy a private jet, and while we are looking at the complementary cost, I looked at the variable cost. So it costs a caterer to pay. It costs the salary for the co-pilot, the caterer, the flight attendant, etc., 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 amounted to up to $1 million annually. I looked at it and I said, no, I won't pay such. I do not spend so much time on the air to spend $1 million in variable costs. I decided with my brothers to rent. I decided to rent. So renting is a better option than buying. What majority of you will do is to purchase the private jet and wonder, oops, how am I losing money? Or where is all my money going to? It's because you don't understand the complementary cost of purchases. Take with me for a moment. Anna's mom gets her a $9,000 rug, of which is out of place next to her hand-me-down furnitures, her rubbish chandeliers and dining tables. Now Anna feels compelled to go on a credit card debt, take out mortgage loans, get new chandeliers, get new furnitures, revamp the whole living room entirely. Now you see, from that $9,000 gift, Anna is now obliged, or Anna has spent close to the equivalent of the amount of the gifts. So lies the hidden purchases or hidden amounts in every purchases. So for every purchase you make, you have to see the complementary cost. Majority of you don't have money to move to that neighborhood, yet you break the bank, move to that new luxurious neighborhood. When you get there, you see you have a massive garage that you have to fill. You take out a loan to buy a car, get this new luxurious car, you feel the need to buy more because the garage space is enormous, from the pressure to send your children to private schools because that's what your neighbors are doing. Your children comes back and there's this new excursion to Dubai that everybody's going to and their friends are going to, and they want to be there because that's what private school students do. You take out even more debt to the vacation to feel among, etc., 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 and the debt just keep piling up and you're wondering, where is all my money going to? The problem is your mindset. How are mindsets formed? Mindset are formed through past experiences and, like I just mentioned, environmental conditioning. Humans are formed through two things primarily. The human nature is formed through two things primarily, which is habits and social copying. How likely are you to click on a YouTube video that has 10 million views than one that has 200 views? Not the one of 200 views can have the best thumbnail, the best title, the best captioning. Conversely, the one with 10 million views could be the exact opposite. Yet you still click on it. Why? Because other people clicked on it. It is more difficult for you to do something that your friends aren't already doing. So our habits are formed through environment, or human nature is based on environment and habits and social coping. While our habits are formed, our mental transfer, our mindsets are formed from past experiences and environments. If you walk up to a door and twist it, you know it will open up to you because you've done it in the past. So your past experiences play a very vital role in shaping your belief system. As children, we go into life with great exuberance, but the constant rebuffs and failures makes us shuffle and apologize for every single request. Most of you sitting here can't even make a demand without saying sorry. Oh, sorry, please. Just say it. Nobody is harming you. And here in Nigeria, we have this false sense of humility. When you use derogatory statement on yourself, when you use harmful words on yourself, you are seen as pious and humble. So I years ago when I rode the years ago I rode the bus. Years ago when I boarded the bus, I I saw this passenger. He flagged down the same bus as I, and while he was negotiating the price with the driver, he finally agreed. On his way in, the driver referenced him to another mode of transport. He said something very striking, and I believe that is what most people say today. He said, "We are not privileged to use that kind of transport." And I understand that in the lower echelon of society, when you use rich vocabularies and words that look sophisticated, you are referenced as a learner, you are hailed, you are hailed as a learned person. But this is very harmful to you. You are doing a disservice to your destiny for momentary gain. The subconscious mind does not cannot differentiate between reality and falsehood. That's why you can think about something and cry physical tears. What if I lose this person? What if I lose X? And you're crying physically. Your subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between your reality and falsehood. So when you keep using negative words and allowing negative things like that in your space, you are ultimately bringing negativity to yourself. I know this is a very new concept and it sounds very illogical. It's not marketable what I'm telling you. Most people are selling you this idea of do step one, step two, step three, you get rich. But I would argue that success is very subjective because it's not measured on numbers. It's not measured by numbers. Money is what is measured by numbers. And money is the direct equivalent of your success in life based on what parameters you use to judge it. The prevalent model is through money. Most people judge success by the impact they have. Like I said, success is very subjective. You can't come out and give people steps on how to be successful. Do this, do X, do Y. If your goal is to be financially independent, then spending 2 to 3 hours in the gym is not basically your priorities now. So when you listen to people, when you listen to influencers that are trying to they are trying to oversimplify a very complicated concept in an attempt to get paid, you should be very careful accepting these kinds of ideas as gospel. Because what they do over time, if they are not aligned and tailored to your specific goals, it can destroy your momentum because you place all your hope and ideal on these steps and you actually believe that if you do this thing you will get a desired outcome, and when it does not manifest you go back home feeling uninspired, unmotivated, and when you hear something like this you totally dismiss it. It doesn't work. I'm not here to play games. I don't want to go through that experience of hurting myself. That's how the brain is. This this pivots back to what I said about how your mindset are formed through past experiences. This past experience now has created a stronghold of being receptive to informations like this because the brain has designed a protective system. The brain has a system that it protects you from harm. So when it knows how you felt when you didn't get the desired result. So it doesn't want to put you through that same experience How does it do it? Unconsciously, you are not receptive to this kind of information. You don't have to be conscious. Unconsciously, you don't want to hear it. Unconsciously, you avoid this kind of things in your space. You create your reality to not harbor or foster those kind of things. So it's not in your prerogative to be receptive to those kind of information. So what I'll share now are very basic principles that are applicable to everybody. For whatever you want to do in life, or whatever single thing you want to do in life, you have to establish a basic foundation of it first. A basic foundation of it first. I would argue that your basic knowledge in arithmetic has proven to be more beneficial than calculus and trigonometry. Lola has two apples. She gave her one, she's left with one. Your arithmetic and your basic addition and subtraction, it has helped you in your bookkeeping, your personal finance, and your daily day to day lifestyle. For a house to be well established, the foundation has to be neat. So for you to be successful, you have to establish a foundation that is oriented with your goal. Your goal is very personal. Your goal is different from brother A, your goal is different from person B, your person B's goal is different from person Y. So trying to say do this, do that, it's not going to work. All I can do is to establish a basic principle that is applicable to everyone. And once you grasp this basic foundation, you can then build your your goals on top of. So what are the basic principles of success? Your mind, which is the first thing. I emphasize on the mind because the mind is what dictates your actions. Your actions determines the ultimate quality of your life. If there was a neurosurgical process that can take my mind and put it into your mind, or that can swap our brains, I would produce the same results in your body. Does that make sense? So I would produce millions and millions of dollars with your body. Since there is no neurosurgical process, of course, I refuse to swap my beautiful mind with that of yours. However, there are things you can learn. You can adopt my philosophy and produce the same results in your own life. You don't have to wait for science to develop that kind of neurosurgical process, and no one would ever agree to sell his brain to you. So, go for knowledge, start expanding your mind, listen to things like this. I would argue that most of you, the hall is quiet. It means you are overwhelmed by what I'm saying. These are new concepts, and your brain is hurting by now. You feel like this is like being hit with a ton of bricks, and it's fine. It's perfectly normal. Is the same benefit you get in the same benefit you get by exercising, the same benefit it does to your brain. So this information is stimulating your brain. What do we know about exercising? Once you exercise, after a few minutes, after once you're done exercising, your body will be sore, but that sore is a good thing. In fact, you are expectant of the sore. You feel excited when you are sore, because you know once you heal, the muscles will grow bigger and heal. So once your brain is done feeling sore and overwhelmed, it will expand, and the next time you hear something like this, you're more receptive towards it. So keep listening to information like this. Keep listening to sermons. Keep going to the seminars and take action. That is one of the most fundamental thing. If there's anything you've learned today, take action. Identify where you want to go to. Identify your goals and begin taking action that nudges you towards that desired goal. This is the problem I have with the West. Everyone wants to sit down and contemplate on their ideas. Everyone wants to sit down and write on a goal card, I am great, and chant and beat their chest, which is not true, which is not the case. If you were to beat your chest, sit down in the house, beat your chest all day, and say, I am rich, and you don't take action or position yourself in such a way that the wealth now comes from some outlets, you will never be wealthy. How do you expect? They say, don't. This is what the influencers tell you. Don't worry on how it's going to come. Just believe it's going to come. So how is it going to come? By sitting in your house all day, chanting affirmations, reciting platitudes around the campfire, and wearing headband that says "I meditate." How is it going to come? Say for instance, you get seated with Elon. You're with Elon Musk. Perhaps he gives you a job or he offers some kind of service that produces financial return. Sure, you might credit that experience towards your manifestation and meditation process. However, you still did some action, you still offer some kind of value, you still offer some kind of service. A transaction happened in order to get that financial return. You see what I'm saying? That you do not make money. Change that flawed concept. The only people that make money work in the mint, and they are the Federal Reserve. You earn money. Every single dollar, every single naira in your account was was taken from someone else. You have to be very good at taking other people's money. The money you got, you took it from Elon. It's not yours. You took it from Elon for a service. So when you see that is the only way to make money is to earn money, I'm becoming a defaulter of my own concept. The only way to earn money is to take it from someone else. That's all it is. How do you how do you get good at taking money? By offering some kind of value or service. There's now we get to the dichotomy where the service of value, is it tied directly to your time? Is it tied directly to your time? There are tons of ways to offer service and value. If you're thinking time, that means you have a wrong mindset towards money, because renting out your time is not going to give you the kind of results that makes you financially free, because there's we all have finite amount of time. When you say to an average employee in a company, I want you to bring more value to this company, he goes for the logical solution. What is the logical solution? Logical solution is fulfill your task on time and do more. If you are given 1 week to do this task, do it in 3 days and take on more than you are expected to. It's only a matter of time before your boss notices and gives you a little stipend in order to encourage you. But the reality of it is there's limited amount of time. There's so much you can slave and crank away in that corporation to give you the kind of results you want. You're not going to work 24 hours, you're not going to work 15 hours, because you're human, you need rest, you need sleep, and you need to eat. So stop approaching problems from a logical perspective. Logical solutions are what everyone will try and do. They've been tried and they do not work. So instead of making the train faster, make the experience more enjoyable, still the same duration, but one costs way lesser. How do you scale yourself in an entrepreneurship space or in a corporate space? Instead of trying to add more value by cranking your way, look for how you can disengage the value you're about to add in the company from your time. Look for intellectual property. Is there an idea? Is there a better way of doing things? Is there some contribution I can make that scales the company forward? What is the difference between your job and the manager's job? The manager's job is to think and make decisions, and and your thoughts or your intellectual property, intellectual property, intellectual work would always supersede hard work. You will always get paid out more for intellectual work. The richest men in our conglomerate, the richest men in the world, all have intellectual property. It is often said that if rewards are rewarded according to hard work, then the concrete workers, the construction guys, would be the richest. We all know this inherently, yet we still default. Yes, we still make the same mistake out of sheer habit, which pivots back to mindset. You don't know why you're doing what you're doing, but you're just doing it. Welfare guys are 4 generations behind. Why are they 4 generations behind? Because I usually thought the reason for that is because they have no inheritance. However, that is not the case. They have sustained a welfare mindset which they taught to their children taught to their own children, their children taught to their children's children, creating a progressive generation of welfare recipients. That's all it is. If you've been under this atmosphere for a while, you're able to be infer that your mindset produces your results. It dictates your action which produces your results. Your results determines the ultimate quality of your life. So if you receive the mindset of the welfare recipients, you will produce and take action. You take action that produce welfare recipient results. That's all it is. With your flawed mindset now, you're currently teaching it to your children, and your children will teach it to their own children, and you wonder why your generation is full of employees. I'm not discriminating anybody, but I'm challenging you. For something new to happen, you have to do something you've never did. If you keep doing the same thing, you would ultimately produce the same result. Another definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different outcome. That is insane. It's never been heard of. As always, Webchum family, it's a pleasure speaking to you guys. I'll see you in the next one.